Welcome back to another edition of This Week in 3 Minutes. I've called this one Cups, Flags, and Garlic. Well, it would appear, if you haven't heard already, that things are about to get bumpy in the equity space, and to what degree we don't know for sure, but it has just been announced that the European Union is very strongly considering announcing a large number of tariffs against the United States. So now not only will the U.S. have to contend with tariff issues relating to Iran, Venezuela, Russia, China, Mexico, in Canada as well, I believe. Now they're going to have to contend with the European Union, which is an enormous economy. It's bigger than the U.S. In many regards. So we'll see what happens and how Washington responds to this. But if in fact the EU launches tariffs against the U.S., that'll be a clear signal of the direction that Europe is going and moving away from Western or Washington's influence to the east. You know, Russia, China, India. And rightfully so. It's where they get the energy and goods that largely come to Europe come from those areas. So this is an interesting development, and I'll be following this closely. As for gold, as of late, some interesting news. The Italians have the Five-Star Movement, I believe, which is the sort of the populist movement over there. They're up in arms because of a number of different reasons, not the least of which they want their gold back home. So the repatriation that began a few years ago by a number of other countries has found another home in Italy, and we'll see how this plays out. But the Italian people are very upset about a number of things, not the least of which is, where is their gold? It should be held by the people, not by the banks. As for gold accumulation, Russia and China continue to amass vast amounts of gold. Just in February alone, Russia added another 1 million ounces of gold to their reserves. And of course, you know, in 2010 they had 180 billion in U.S. Treasuries. It's now down to, I think, 13 billion or some tiny little number, and their gold holdings have gone up four or five-fold since that year to about 91 billion. So this is some really interesting stuff, in my opinion. Anyway, oh yes, why do we go get cup and handle and flag and all that? If you go into the show notes, you'll see the technical trading patterns that I've been watching on gold, suggesting that the consolidation we've seen in gold the last couple months, I guess, is nearing an end. Now, which direction it will break out, I mean, nobody wants to see it go down. It's always possible, but the markers or the indicators suggest it's likely to go the other way. Who knows? Technical analysis is less than reliable when it comes to looking at gold, but it does give us some idea. And one of the patterns that I look for is something called a cup and handle, which looks like a U with a tail. And we've had that over the 1 year trading pattern on gold. And the cup and handle is a very bullish pattern, suggesting a strong uptrend, which, by the way, if you bought gold 6 months ago in Canada, you'd be up a couple $100s right now. It's really interesting to watch in various different currencies. Well, why did I talk about garlic? Well, you're not going to get the real information on gold from the mainstream media. It's just not going to happen. You've got to go to alternative sources. I'm glad that you're going to my videos. Lots of different places you can go to. But why is it that the mainstream and the governments refuse to talk about gold in a positive light? And somebody made a comment this week because they're like vampires that don't talk about garlic. Makes perfect sense to me. So in the meantime, try and put much of the volatility associated with this asset class out of your mind. We are at the late stage in this business cycle, and what's going to trigger the next crisis, who knows? In the meantime, live your life, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. Cheers for now.